Ladies and gentlemen, the International Scout is back.
Meet the International Scout, Australia's newest, most advanced, go-anywhere, four-wheel drive runabout.
The International Scout was made by a tractor company back in 1960. Called the International Harvester, the Scout was made to compete with the Jeep and performed really well, selling over 500,000 vehicles. And now they're coming back as all-electric vehicles with an optional gas generator option that I'll get to in a second. We have two vehicles today. We have the Scout Traveler, which is an SUV, and the Scout Terra, which is an electric truck. Let's start with the Traveler. Right off the bat, the first thing I'm noticing is the massive cabana, one of the largest sunroofs I've ever seen in an SUV. I see the Scout Traveler fitting in the same outdoor family as like the Broncos and the Jeeps, with a spare tire on the rear and enough internal space to fit a piece of plywood, width-wise at least. The back hatch is a split gate with a tire carrier on the rear that holds a full-size 35-inch spare tire. The charge port is the NACS standard and has an additional 3 outlets inside the same flap, with 3 additional 120-volt plugs on the inside. Down here at the bumper, we have tow hooks, as well as I really appreciate that the bumper and these lower panels are all removable and replaceable. So if you are off-roading and something gets damaged, it isn't a massive repair bill. And while other vehicles might be going for a more minimalist aesthetic, this Scout Traveler has a blinker stock and tactile buttons all throughout the interior, with 2 displays, one in front of the driver and another in between the driver and passenger. The steering wheel has large control dials for the driver, and the passenger actually has a dial themselves placed on the side of the center display, so they can control the volume in a community UI sort of thing. And the passenger seat has a pull-out tray for meals, a laptop, or getting things done while charging. Speaking of charging, that brings us to what really sets the Scout vehicles apart from anything else on the market right now. The Scout vehicles have an option called the Harvester, which is an onboard gas generator that extends the range from 350 miles all the way up to 500 miles. Still utilizing the electric motors and the battery underneath, the gas generator is just recharging the battery. Both vehicles, the Terra and Traveler, are 4-wheel drive, have a solid rear axle, can climb 100% grades, and have a 0 to 60 of 3.5 seconds, and built for off-roading. They both have a rugged, retrally futuristic design. Sitting in the driver's seat feels so good. This is like a rugged kind of outdoorsy aesthetic, and I'm sure they're gonna have different interior options, but what we have right now is a hempwood door panel trim that also wraps around the dashboard with throwbacks to the original Scout designs. The massive glass roof up top, which hopefully has some kind of tinting for us, for the people who like to drive trucks. We have large dials on the steering wheel, a compass here in the middle, which is interesting, and different off-road modes, all which come with their own buttons, 2 screens with the same passenger dial over here, as well as a tray that pulls out for the passenger. And speaking of passengers, there are 2 spots in the front with a bench seat, which I'm a huge fan of. The Scout Terra does have a large glass roof on top, but I'm told that it will probably not retract like we see on the Traveler. The bed of the Terra is 5.5 feet long, 49 inches wide between the wheel wells, and something I'm excited about, it has a 240-volt plug in the back to power the bigger tools like welders. With a 10,000-pound towing capacity, it can also power an RV. So I guess the biggest question is, this is a production intent vehicle, but not every prototype makes it to the streets. But this one feels different. Scout is an independent American startup that's backed by the Volkswagen Group, which you might have heard of before. They are currently building a $2 billion factory in South Carolina with the goal of producing 40 vehicles an hour, or 200,000 vehicles a year, starting in 2027. The lower trims are starting at $50,000, give or take, and I think 2027 is optimistic and $50,000 is ambitious, but I am really excited to see these out on the road. These are going to be super fun to drive. Pre-orders are now open, a refundable $100. Hold your spot in line. I'll leave a link down in the description. And it's fun seeing American startups building in America and doing fun American things. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments, and thanks a ton for watching. I'll see you around.